we're back at the Welland Investment Tour. This is the second property that we had on our last tour. Come check it out. What are you guys doing over here?
Just checking out what changes they're gonna make.
Yeah. This one's gonna be just a standard duplex conversion. 3-bedroom main floor unit. Oh yeah, this one's a 2-bath too. Yeah, so whenever we have a bit more square footage, we've been trying to do the second bath, which is actually interesting because a second bathroom is smaller, like it needs a smaller space than a third bedroom. You can fit it in like a 5x8, 5x10, right? Yeah. So if you don't quite have the space or the windows for a 3-bedroom, you can kind of do a 2-bath and you still get a lot of demand and a lot of rent. Why don't you guys haven't gone to the basement yet?
No.
Not yet, yeah.
Oh.
So that's going to be a washer dryer, right?
Oh, that's not good. So there's that could have ended badly actually. Let's go around the side. There's no stairs. All right. I'll have to double check. This home had really good. Oh. It had really good windows, but it only had one key. Yeah, this is pretty easy, but yeah. This is actually the first time I'm seeing this in one of our projects. We don't usually do this because it's a bit more expensive. It's a higher level of soundproofing, but it's not something we always go for. So this client is interesting. He's not working with one of our contractors. I think he may be even managing the renovation himself. This is called Sonopan. It's a type of soundproofing that looks like drywall, right? You just staple them and then put the drywall.
Just for the ceiling, right? Ceiling.
Yeah, just for the ceiling. It wouldn't make sense for the walls. Yeah. Maybe it's because of the wiring. It may have been tough to really put proper soundproofing. So these Sonopan sheets, they just staple to the joist basically. Yeah. And then you just attach the resilient under it, and then you put the drywall. This wall, I guess they removed just, I think it was a wood panel wall, right? Just an older style.
So it wasn't like a load-bearing wall or?
I think this is load-bearing, but they're gonna keep it. If you saw the designs upstairs, they're making a bedroom on the side there, and then they're making that into a bedroom with an ensuite. But I think the reason for that is they didn't want to mess with the layout too much. The second washroom is already in that corner, right? So this was the existing washroom, I believe. Yeah, this is existing, but this is the cold room.
This is the cold room?
Yeah, this is the cold room.
Wide enough to make it. I have a cold room in my house property, but not wide enough.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-bed, 2-bath downstairs?
Yeah, 2-bed, 2-bath, yeah. Yeah, the second bath really works when you don't have, like this home would have been tough to make a good 3-bedroom out of it, because it's bigger than our traditional bungalow, but it's not like, yeah, so this is I think a 1,200-ish square foot bungalow, but because of the garage and the front porch on that side, there's a lot of sides you don't have windows on, so then
you can make a bedroom there.
That's right, yes. It just becomes a bit tougher, right? And personally, even having 2 large bedrooms with 2 washrooms, it's a way I think you attract your tenant profile by the layout as well, right? So a 2-bedroom on some level restricts the number of people that are going to live in the house, but a second washroom hopefully attracts someone who's willing to pay a premium for that second washroom, right? Or maybe even like 2 couples, 2 friends, right? If you're willing to sort of accept that tenant profile. Right now, we're still mainly targeting families, but I can easily see, like if you look in Toronto, once the rent prices go past a certain point, right? Like at some point in the future, if these basements are like $2,500 in rent, you got a 2-bed, 2-washroom, you get 2 professionals, they split it down the middle, they each have their own washroom, right? Yeah, many times some of the layouts we're looking at now is exactly this, right? Having an ensuite to the master, because if you think about it, the master bedroom is going to be occupied by the person paying the rent. So if you can make it as nice as possible, have a walk-in closet, have an ensuite bathroom, right? Give those features, many times that can go a long way to get that top dollar. Yeah. This is going to be a bedroom, so we're going to close off the furnace room. I think this window may be enlarged, and yeah, this is going to be a bedroom, washroom. There's going to be another washroom, but that's going to be for common area. Yeah, second bedroom on the other side of this wall, and then just living kitchen on that side. So, except for the second washroom, this is pretty much a standard duplex conversion. pretty much cookie cutter, you know, up and down.
This is all existing. Like,
Yeah, my head height is 6'3".
Oh, then it's
2 inches more than my head is the minimum.
That's what you want.
This is at least 7 feet, maybe even 8 feet,
Here,
right?
right?
Copper
That's
piping?
standard, yeah.
No, copper piping is fine. If it's damaged or in rough shape, then we'd replace it in the process. But yeah, if it's in good shape, we try to save the HVAC, plumbing. Honestly, in some properties, even if it's fully insulated and drywall, we'll just leave it, right? We'll just add the kitchen, add the bathrooms, right? And just try to save as much of the finishes as possible. Even the ceiling, right? This is a bit hit or miss, but sometimes if you have existing finished half-inch drywall ceiling, the city of Welland will just let you keep it, which saves you on the cost, but then you have no soundproofing. So if you're really tight on your budget and you just want to get in, get it done, get it rented, that's a way to go. If you have a bit more of a renovation budget, I would try to at least do some higher end finishes like soundproofing or making the space. Yeah, you could even just do another sheet of drywall on top, right? So
yeah.
it's a bit weird. This past year has been so active, but there's been like 2 weeks in the middle there where things just slowed down. Some properties we got at like basically like even this 10K under asking. This same home now would go for like 650, 625, right? It would easily go over right now. So it's kind of odd, but this is where, like I always say, if you're interested in purchasing a rental, if you're always actively looking, you somehow get lucky. Like the properties come up. If you kind of just wait for a property to show up, I haven't really seen that get great results. But if you're like actively going out to see homes, like seeing what's available, right? Then all of a sudden things can click, like on this one, like on quite a few that we've done, where, you know, when you're ready, when you're willing to put an offer, then sometimes the right property will come up, and occasionally the listing agent will make a mistake where I've seen some deals where the listing agent only held offers for 3 days, right? So they'll list it on like a Wednesday and hold it till the Saturday without even giving a full weekend to get showings in. And then all of a sudden, like some of these deals, we have no competition or one other offer, right? And it's otherwise a very good home. So
You figure this might sell the market if it were right now for about 625?
yeah, at least 625. Like the condition of this home when he bought it wasn't amazing, right? It was dated down here, but upstairs was actually decent, right? Because it's the current finishes we see there. So like even though it's dated, it will sell. Like these homes are in huge demand, especially when you have this size of basement too, right?
Are the comparables, like duplex comparables around here, like 750 today kind of?
So there's a side split that's sold in this neighborhood. That's now our highest comparable. That's sold for 820 as a legal duplex, 3 bedroom up, 2 bedroom down, just 1 bathroom in each unit. So 820, yeah. So that's our comparable for every refinance. We're going to be using that. But yeah, so far the East End, even though purchase prices are coming up, this area is a little bit cheaper than the first area. It has a bit of a stigma from the local people. Like the East End is not known as like the prime area of Welland. But personally, I think it's a bit people overthink it when they're from here because they're imagining the last 20, 40 years of what this used to be. Nowadays, if you look on the street, if it's a nice family-friendly street, from an investment perspective, we may have a few of the local tenants not be willing to rent, but we have enough demand from people that are especially coming from other cities that they don't care. They look at the street, they look at the property, it's good. Okay, we're happy to live there. So yeah, about 100. So yeah, I don't have the exact breakdown. This client is, I believe he's self-managing it, or he has like a project manager who's taking care of it, just someone he knew personally. But I would estimate this basement would cost typically around 100 grand. Definitely the washer and dryer. I think it'll probably be in that staircase where they took the stairs out. They'll probably build a platform. So this is where, again, it's that balance between cost and like the rent or the benefit, right? In the perfect world, you would renovate both units, do everything up to a top quality. But the thing is, in the shape it's in now, maybe you get 1,800. If it's fully done up, maybe you get 2,000, 2,100 in this area, right? So is that worth spending 30,000 to do a new kitchen, bathroom, make it nice, depending on how much money you have and what your goals are. Yeah, it'll definitely help with the refinancing, it'll definitely help with the appraisal, but it's taking like 100 grand reno budget to 130. Like, is that something you want to do? And it depends. I'm personally actually leaning towards doing more renovations for my own properties to the upper unit to make all the units to a higher standard. But if that budget is a bit too much for you, then start with the basement, rent out the upstairs as it is. 2 years later, if the tenant moves out upstairs, then put some money in to make the upstairs nice. You always have options once you own the property, right? Once you buy the property, you're locking in your cost, your purchase price, your reno, everything's locked in. If the appreciation happens, you build equity. But if even the rental market continues to grow in demand, more people want to live here, the general rents rise, then you have a turnover upstairs or even in the basement. It's just a perspective, because we all want the results now. We want the cash flow now, we want more equity now, we want all the results now. But if you have the perspective that this is a 5, 10, 20-year investment, and you're not depending on it for the first 5 years, for the first 10 years, you're able to let the investment sort of mature, grow, build up in cash flow, I think that's a very good perspective to have, because you don't put so much expectation that this property has to meet like a very strict bar. So then you're actually able to look at many different options that are available. Rent controls would probably not apply to the basement, because the basement is a newly created unit. The upstairs was an existing house before. So always, if a tenant moves out in Ontario, you can just bring it to market. The issue is if a tenant wants to stay, if it's under rent control, you can only increase it by the guideline. A newly created basement, a new construction condo, anything built after 2018 doesn't have rent controls. Now, this is just for now. See, if this basement was not legal, there was a kitchen, there was a tenant living here, they could actually fight to say that even though it wasn't legal, it was an occupied rental. So actually, this home had a kitchen in here, so this guy may need to look into it. But they would need to prove that to the landlord-tenant board. It's not the easiest thing to prove, right? Like that, I don't know what you can do. Block is not ideal. Port is better, but even a block you can do interior waterproofing, right? Once you get to like a stone foundation wall, once you get earlier than 1940s, 1930s, ceiling heights tend to be lower. You deal with just more issues with the structure of the house. So I don't mind doing cosmetic renovations. I try to stay away from the structural side of things, at least for this strategy, right? If you're like Jiva's doing a addition to his house, properties that have bigger scopes of reno, sure, buy an older home, you get a good enough deal, it makes sense. But for this strategy, we're paying, I would say we're paying the market price, but for a dated bungalow, we're adding value by creating the unit, but we don't want to add more work than it needs to be, right? So in the city of Welland, the lowest form of density is the RL1, similar to an R1 zone, like a residential neighborhood. In an R1 zone, you can do in-law suite, you can do the 3 units, duplex plus the in-law suite. So pretty much any residential zoning, you can do the duplex conversion. The main ones are RL1 and RL2. RL2 allows you to go up to 4 units in the city of Welland, and RL1 is up to 3 units, 2 plus 1, right? Yeah, like if you have a bathroom, walk-in closet, and a big bedroom, that's like really good quality, right?
But the living room and kitchen going to be small, right?
Somewhat, but it's still a big space, right? It's 1,250 square feet. So, like, if you imagine, those 2 windows will be in the bedroom, but then from that second window all the way there, like, this is still a pretty fairly good size, right? Typically, these projects take about 6 months from once you buy it until it's rented out. The work is 2 or 3 months, but then it takes some time to get ready, get started, and then afterwards to rent it out. So about 6 months usually. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're interested to come to our next investment tour, definitely make sure to get our free beginner's guide in the comments below. For those of you on our email list, we'll send you updates when the next one we host is, so that you can come in person to check out these type of projects and kind of get a feel for what is involved in a duplex conversion project. I Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Until next time, all the best.